Hello YouTube, Goldbuff Forever here, bringing you another video, this time on items that I would find to be somewhat easy for your bot to find that you can sell to D2JSP and make you some forum gold. A lot of people have a lot of trouble starting off to make forum gold, and these are going to be some of the items that will help you obtain some. You're not going to get thousands off of these items, but you're going to make enough to where you're going to start building up a stash, and you'll be able to actually use it, and you'll enjoy D2JSP a lot more. Also, I'd like to point out that this is, of course, not limited to D2JSP. If you like to trade in game, a lot of this stuff it'll apply to that too. It's not as if this is only D2JSP. However, this is what I mostly find sells on D2JSP these days, and this is for US East, ladder, softcore. I don't play hardcore, so all of this stuff can be tempered by that. So this is the only part of D2JSP that I use. So of course, take this with a grain of salt. This is just my own personal findings, and your mileage may vary. And with that being said, let's get started. So the number one thing that I suggest people collect is Token of Absolution. The Token of Absolution is really easy to get if you have a Paladin and you're botting all of the bosses, and Dariel, Mephisto, Diablo, and Bale. Just keep all the dust and have it crafted for you and throw it in the stash, and you'll probably get like 10, 20, 30 of these a day depending on how long you let the bot run. And at 1 forum gold per, that's 20 or 30 forum gold guaranteed per every 24 to 48 hours. Depends on how lucky you get. Obviously the game is RNG, so you might get 2, you might get 20, it kind of depends, but on average I get anywhere from 10 to 20 per night. And that can sell from 1 to 5 forum gold per, and that's plenty. That's not a bad amount of forum gold. So keep that in mind and understand that that's a decent amount that you could get for really not doing a lot of effort, and it's not that hard, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. Next thing you can look for is perfect non-upped items that are not elite items. So things like Mage Fist, Frostburns, Hotspurs, Goblin Toes. I'm going to skip through the list here a bit. 50% Magic Find War Travelers, Skin of the Viper Magi, especially if it's perfect, Eth Scolders, Gore Riders. People love to upgrade Gore Riders. Rib Crackers. If you can find an Eth perfect Rib Cracker, that is worth a ton of forum gold. And people don't realize how good that actually is. So keep that in mind. Again, the list will be here on the website. I will leave the link in the description so you guys can take a look at it. And then, of course, we have some perfect elite items, stuff like the Shaco, especially the higher-end defense Shacos, like 140, 141. Those are going to be the ones you want to get. If you get a perfect Storm Shield, those are going to be worth something. We're not talking a lot here. You might only get 5 or 10 forum gold for these, but again, these are not items that are actually all that hard to find, in my opinion. If you're botting constantly, eventually you're going to run across these, and you're not going to find them every single day. But if you add this to your list and you have the ability to grab these, it's always a good thing. Now, some people might say, well, you could get the lower ones too. Even a 90 defense Shaka will probably sell. It probably does, but in my opinion, it's a lot harder to sell that one than it is to sell the higher defenses, especially as ladder goes on, or even if you're on a non-ladder situation. People on non-ladder really don't want non-perfect items, so keep that in mind. Socketed items. Find socketed items for the most used rune words. So 4 socketed monarchs, Eth Paladin shields with plus 45 resistances, non-Eth Paladin shields with 45 resistances. Even if it's just a normal shield with 45 resistances, you'd be surprised. Somebody might want to roll that into a spirit. So go ahead and pick it up anyway. You'd be surprised. You might get 5 or 10 forum gold out of it. Might be worthwhile. 4 open-socketed ethereal elite polearms like Colossus Volge. Of course, if you can get that with 15% enhanced damage, that would obviously be better. 3-socketed mage plates, 4-socketed archon plates, 3-socketed archon plates, dust shrouds, 3 and 4-socketed. Things of this nature are not really that hard to find. The ones that are harder to find are the 15% enhanced damage and enhanced defense. Those ones are going to be a little tricky. The enhanced durability rolls are not really worth anything to most people, so I wouldn't count on those making you a ton, but if you find one with 15 and 15, more power to you. Maybe somebody would want that. Stone of Jordan, I think this one's obvious. They're not that hard to find, as hard as people make it out to be. I don't find these every single night, but I do find them pretty reliably. Other rings like Wisp, Ravenfrost, even if they're not perfect, but they're up on the higher end, like if you find a 20% absorption Wisp with, say, 18% magic find, somebody will buy that. For sure, somebody will want that. Ravenfrost, you kind of do want perfect. Keep that in mind. Bull Kathos, even if those aren't perfect, people might want to use those. I use those on my Paladin for the plus to life per level. So for me, that's actually really useful, and I personally use those and buy them. Of course, I buy the cheap ones because I don't really care about the lifesteal. And there might be somebody else out there who does the exact same thing. Runes, so the runes that are obvious are Enigma runes, Chains of Honor runes, Spirit runes, Insight runes, Treachery runes. All of those things that people make the most are the type of runes that you want to keep. Even if you don't have full sets, try to keep the easier runes that are defined, and then when you find the harder to find ones, you can make complete sets and sell those off, or even just place them into your own armor and take a chance on, rolling something of your own and trying to resell it. That's up to you guys. And my last example on my list here is perfect gems, perfect amethyst, rubies, skulls, sapphires. Pretty much all of them are useful, but I would only limit yourself to perfect amethysts and rubies. And that's just my personal opinion. Those seem to be the easiest to sell on my part of D2JSP on the ladder. So they're trying to roll crafting amulets, or excuse me, they're trying to roll crafting amulets that have 20% faster cast rate with skills on them. And then the rubies, I believe, are blood rings. I could be wrong about that. But the point is just keeping those in large amounts. If you get 40 of those and you get some rolls to go with it, that's something you could sell. People will buy those, even if you don't even have the jewels. Some people will be willing to buy just 40 at a time so that they can do their rolls. So if this helped, guys, do the usual thing, like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you next time.